When you think about the best years in music, most will say Michael Jackson's 1983, Prince's 1984, Usher's 2004, and if you want to be more recent, Olivia Rodrigo's 2021, and let's not forget Taylor Swift's 2023. But on the Billboard 1994 year-end list, this group had 3 songs in the top 10 alone, and that group was known as the Ace of Base. They were a group from the 90s who came in the early days of the Europop 90s movement, but they've recently fell under the radar. Today you'll find out what happened to this band and why one member disappeared from the limelight entirely. So without further ado, this is what happened to the Ace of Base. Before we begin, if you want to see music bios or more good videos like this, hit the subscribe button. Also, I've started a Patreon account. On here you get more copyrighted material and they'll be uploaded 48 hours prior to YouTube. If you want to support or visit, link is in the description. And without further ado, on to our feature presentation. Before I begin, I want to apologize for any mispronunciations in this video. Like throughout the video, I say Berggren instead of Berggren. For some reason, that's how I read it when I recorded it, and I only found out when I started to edit it. So again, I apologize for any mispronunciation throughout this video, especially to all my viewers who will be watching this from Sweden. Now let's begin. Our story begins in Gothenburg, Sweden. Jonas Berggren was born in 1967. He's the oldest of 3, which included his 2 sisters, Linn, or Linn for short, born in 1970, and Jenny, born in 1972. The family grew up in a Christian household, and this is where their musical talents were birthed. The Berggren sisters took singing and violin lessons, and brother Jonas was taught the guitar by his father. As they got older, the sisters wanted to be teachers and had little desire to embark in music. In 1987, Jonas formed a punk band for a school project. He recruited his sisters to join as background singers. The group would undergo a number of name changes and lineup changes. In 1990, one of their members failed to show up for a gig, and Jonas recruited his friend Ulf Ekberg to fill in. Ulf spent most of his life in gangs and violence, but credits Jonas for turning his life around. In the early stages of the band, which was called techno at the time, their music was dark and aggressive. But as Linn and Jenny started to get more involved with the group, they decided to shift from dark to reggae-influenced sounds. They also felt like the techno didn't match what they wanted. According to Ulf, he was watching MTV and was watching the video for Ace of Spades by Motorhead, and he loved being in a studio as it was their base, and thus the name Ace of Base came to be. They recorded demos and tried to have them placed in Sweden clubs, hopefully getting lucky. However, they was rejected by multiple record labels for one reason or another, but Mega Records decided to give them a chance. They released their debut single, Wheel of Fortune, but the song failed to chart in Sweden, but became a smash in Denmark, peaking at number 2 over there. But their next single would change the course of the band forever. All That She Wants became the group's first number 1 hit in Denmark, reaching the top 10 in Germany. Seeing that the song was taking off fast in Europe, Mega rushed the band to record their debut album. And that album would be called Happy Nation, released in November 1992. Seeing how All That She Wants was taking off, Mega wanted their song to be shipped to America. However, many American executives believed that the song and sound was not going to go anywhere. Except for one, named Clive Davis. He was on vacation when he heard the song, and it was said that he ended his vacation early to sign up to Arista for America. All That She Wants will peak at number 2 on the Hot 100, only being blocked by Informer.
All that she wants is another baby. She's gone tomorrow, boy.
As the band was started to work on their second album, Clive felt like the America should hear their debut, which wasn't released to America at the time. So he tweaked the album by adding 3 new songs. Happy Face was rebranded as The Sign, and that was released in 1993. Basically, a variant of Happy Face. It was headlined by the title track, and that song went to number 1 in various countries and was the number 1 song for the 1994 year-end list. This followed with Don't Turn Around, which was a B-side cover originally sung by Tina Turner. Don't Turn Around became a top 10 hit in various countries, and The Sign was a massive success, going 9 times platinum in America.
But don't turn around, 'cause you're gonna see my heart break.
But as the world was getting to know Ace of Base, things started to arise. For one, it was alleged that several splinter groups started to cover the group with names like Age of Bass or Bass of Spades. With the success, the press started to dig into the personal lives of the members. Ulf, in particular, partook in gang-related activities as already mentioned, but Ulf defended himself by saying, "That's the past, I regret that part of my life, I'm thankful for my new family of Ace of Base," paraphrasing of course. Then for the Berggren family, their home was attacked by an unnamed German-obsessed fan. The fan broke in and brandished a knife at Jenny and her mom. It would later be revealed that sister Linn was the intended target, but wasn't present at the time, and this incident will affect Linn forever. In October 1995, the Ace of Base released their follow-up album, The Bridge. Singles included Lucky Love, which went to number 30 in America.
Lucky love belongs to teenage seven, I know.
Beautiful Life, which went to number 15.
It's a beautiful life. Oh, oh, it's a beautiful life.
And Never Gonna Say I'm Sorry, which didn't chart at all in America. Compared to The Sign, this undersold big time, only going platinum in America. According to the band, the album was rushed in order to capitalize on the success of The Sign. So for their next album, they decided to take their time. But it was at this moment where Linn started to withdraw from the band. She started to have vocal problems, adding on to the fact that she was suffering from depression, likely stemmed from that knife attack on her mom. Not to mention she's also suffered from areophobia from all the traveling. She has stated that she never wanted to be a famous singer, or just famous in general. In concerts, she started to perform in the background with the band, and in 1997, she officially relinquished her role as lead singer to Jenny full-time. In 1998, Ace of Base released their third album, Flower, and pay attention to the album cover. It shows Linn's new background role with her shot looking faded. Their first single was Life is a Flower, a personal favorite for Jonas, charted in the top 10 in various countries.
Love is a flower, so precious in your hand.
But back in America, Clive Davis instead took a liking to the Bananarama's cover of Cruel Summer, and he started to push that as the American lead-off single. Just like with The Sign, the flower was repackaged as Cruel Summer. Cruel Summer peaked at number 10 in America. But the album itself, Flower or Cruel Summer, wasn't successful. As the millennium turned, a fourth album, Da Capo, was released in September 2002. The album was only released in Europe and never saw American shelves. As a result, the album was unsuccessful. During this time, the media started to berate the group on Linn's disappearance. Tired of answering those questions, the group halted promotion on the album and stepped away from the limelight. Jenny started to perform with her husband, but it wouldn't be until 2007 when the group reunited after 5 years away. Not part of the reunion was, unsurprisingly, Linn. She expressed little desire to return, and through her brother Jonas had announced her departure from the band. Today, Linn hasn't done any interviews, barely on social media, and as a result, not much is known about her personal life if she's married or have kids. But what is certain is that she is still in touch with her siblings Jonas and Jenny. Jonas wanted another singer to complement Jenny, so they hired Julia Williamson. The group then toured for the next 2 years and started to record a brand new album. But now Jenny is withdrawn, and she felt like her input wasn't taken seriously by Jonas and Ulf. The men countered that she didn't like the fact her sister was being replaced by an outsider. Regardless, Jenny left the group to go solo. She will be replaced by Clara Hackman, who appeared on the show Idol 2009, where Ulf was judging. In 2010, the group released their first album in 8 years, called The Golden Ratio. The group will continue to tour until 2012, and that's when Julia and Clara both left the group. Meanwhile, Jenny released her solo album My Story in 2010. She had one single, Here I Am, that reached the top 20 in Sweden. That same year, she released her autobiography, and throughout her career, she volunteered her time with various charities and performed in Christian churches. Today, she stays in Gothenburg with her husband and 2 children. Since the departures of Julia and Clara, the group activities have been remote silent. They've released multiple compilation projects throughout the decade, and talks about a reunion have been muted. But in 2024, a docuseries called All She Wants, The Unbelievable Story of the Ace of Base, was released, despite not being available in America yet. The series highlight almost everything mentioned in this video on how everyone exhausted the group. But overall, the Ace of Base was a cultural phenomenon. They were credited in influencing albums like The Fame Monster and Teenage Dream, And even though they're mostly inactive today and sometimes forgotten, Ace of Base got all that she wants, and then some. And that concludes what happened to the Ace of Base. Tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.